who else is very, very psyched for more You on Netflix? So I got extremely hooked by seasons 1 and 2 of the show, and now I can confirm that season 3 has that same highly bingeable quality to it. For anyone out there who hasn't seen seasons 1 and 2 of You, I highly recommend them. Penn Badgley is almost too good in that lead role, and then the addition of Victoria Pedretti was kind of perfect. But now, for anyone who has not seen the first 2 seasons, this is where I would advise you to stop watching, because I'm about to roll into a little season 3 synopsis here, and that of course would give away some very important things that happen in the first 2 seasons, so don't ruin it for yourself. Here we go. Let's get into it. Joe and Love are married at this point, and they've also got a baby too. They moved to a neighborhood in Northern California called Madre Linda, a town filled with mighty privileged individuals. Joe and Love are determined to find their places in Madre Linda and build a good life for their son. But as we all well know at this point, they've both got some impulses that make it a little difficult to maintain your average suburban lifestyle. I just love this show and always have so much fun with it. And I also think it does an especially good job of keeping a concept like that going strong for multiple seasons, something that I always thought was going to be a challenge. I remember at the very end of season 1 sitting there wondering, what's next? Is every season of this show going to be the same thing, following the same formula with Joe just targeting someone new? But it's not just that at all. They did that, but also so much more in season 2. Love proved to be the perfect partner for Joe to push his arc forward and also to add more layers to that particular character, but while also giving us another fully realized killer to become totally enamored by, in love herself. And now in season 3 of the show, the baby, their marriage, and that town proved to be excellent ways to test both characters even more. And I found it especially interesting watching how the two of them react to having another living being, their son of course, just totally tethered to everything they do. It makes for an especially powerful wrinkle when tapping into certain things that we've seen that they tend to do from previous seasons and how they adjust to that given their current circumstances. I also still just cannot get over how convincing Badgley is in this role. In season 3, Joe wants to make things work so badly, and even though I am very well aware that he just can't quite do that, there's still qualities of Badgley's performance, in particular his dialogue and his narration delivery, that's just so overwhelmingly powerful and convincing that you still find yourself holding on to this sliver of hope that he can find happiness and satisfaction, I guess. I'm thinking that even with being so well aware of his patterns at this point. And I think that the show's ability to continue to get you to have that kind of hope for Joe comes a whole lot now from Love, too, in their relationship together. It's just such a fascinating and intoxicating form of chemistry that Badgley and Pedretti strike up here. It's part sweet, sincere, and even traditional to a degree, but then it's also wildly volatile and downright dangerous. And somehow those two sides just blend together so seamlessly and in a way that significantly intensifies how easy it can be for these two people to just get completely lost in love, lust, fear, and want. And that right there is kind of the driving force for the extreme level of suspense that this show maintains. The two of them together are basically one big powder keg. And then individually, I would say Pedretti achieves something very similar with love that Badgley's been doing with Joe all along, but in her own way, of course. It's very much letting the viewer know that this person is capable of very bad things, but also being able to spark a very deep investment in the character and even having some concern for her. I'm just clearly fascinated by the fact that I find myself rooting for Love and Joe to make everything work, and also hating the fact that I feel that way at the same time. And I am a very big believer that you finds as much success in that particular department as it does because of the work that Badgley and Pedretti deliver. As for the supporting ensemble in season 3, I gotta highlight Dylan Arnold, who is just excellent. I am not super familiar with a whole lot of his work, but I do very much remember him from the 2018 Halloween movie, largely because his character's arc felt a little cut short there. But do not worry about that here whatsoever, because he's got a pretty significant role, and I would say he makes the most of it. In fact, he also sparks a bit of a conflict in me too when it came to rooting for something that deep down I knew wasn't right or good for anyone involved. It's just that his character, Theo, is such a big charmer who is so easy to root for. And then on top of that, and probably most impressive of all, Arnold really brings a whole lot of nuance to the role that made him especially rich and just an interesting character to follow. And he also has a pretty profound effect on Love's growth too. Going down the roster a little, I want to tease one more name here. Keep an eye on Shalita Grant as Sherry. She is basically the town queen bee, a super popular mommy blogger, and I thought I had that character pegged within minutes of meeting her, but just wow, did she manage to surprise me, but while also respecting the pillars of the character established early on in the season. I was so impressed by her work. Now, though, there are two supporting characters that didn't quite have that same special spark for me. The first one I want to bring up is Scott Speedman as Matthew. He's Love and Joe's neighbor and also Theo's father. It's nothing to do with Speedman's performance here, more so the script. But I think what I really needed was to know a little bit more about that character's relationship with certain people in his life, just in order to feel that his choices were more motivated and for what he goes through to carry a little more emotional weight. And admittedly, those are things that are just not easy to do when you're crafting a character who is often closed off, and Matthew very much is. I don't necessarily think they nailed that character, but he does serve the overall story of You Season 3 well enough. And then I also had a similar issue with Tati Gabrielle's character. In her particular case, we do get a good deal of that necessary exposition, but I actually think it was maybe more the chemistry between her and Badgley that was just lacking a little. She is more of a low-key and down-to-earth character compared to many of the other characters in Season 3, and also compared to other characters from previous seasons as well. And I think that's what winds up leading to Gabrielle's character just failing, I guess, to pop as much as some of the others did. But still, I am giving you 4 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. It is another wild ride that just sucks you in so fast and has that intensely addictive quality to it that I just can't get enough of with this material. Be sure to carve out the necessary binge time for this one, because I could not stop myself from pressing that next button every single time an episode came to an end. There you go. That is where I'm leaving you on You Season 3. You know the drill. You know how much I love talking with you guys about these things too. So binge You Season 3 and then hit that comment section and share your thoughts right there. Before I leave you, this review is coming from a very special member of the Patreon team. It is Ian. Thank you so much for being here at all, for sticking with the campaign, and just for being you. And I also have you to thank for my brand new Scream t-shirt. I did buy the one that you shared with me, and I love it, and I can't wait to get it. So thank you for the recommendation, my friend. Big thanks to everybody out there for watching this review. Stay tuned. More on the way. very, very soon.